Hello there, people that are part of the Project Open Mic Audience. This is Andre, and you're going to hear me for another Andre's Mic. Been a little bit more active this year than I have in previous years as being a member of the group for this channel. And there's one thing, and this is a definite personal gripe that I have, where I hear people say it so often, and the statement irritates me because it implies something that is horribly untrue, but so many people assume it's true, it's ridiculous. And that's such and such a person is so educated, you would think that they would be smarter about their choices or something along those lines. And I hate to break it to people, and I've said this repeatedly many times over years to different people at different situations about different things, where one seemingly highly educated person does something that is incredibly stupid. And it annoys me because intelligence and education are not the same thing. And for some reason, everyone conflates that your level of education is equal to your level of intelligence, and they just are not the same. They just are not the same thing. It's ridiculous that this would even be a thing that has to be brought up. But I've said it multiple times before. You can have a highly educated idiot and a very undereducated genius. Those two things can exist. Just as you can have a highly educated genius and a completely uneducated idiot. Those things happen. It happens, and people like that exist. And I guess for me personally, it's just like I see it so often, and it's like, how do people make this mistake and just assume that just because you're educated, that you are automatically more intelligent than someone else? And the thing is, you can see examples of the exact opposite being true, where you could have someone, for example, let's say you have an engineering major, comes into a job and takes over working after someone else who has been doing the job for many years has been there, but they just unfortunately don't have the same level of education. That doesn't mean that this new engineering student or person that happens to have the degree is going to come in and do the job better than the person that's been working the job. It just does not mean it, because they got educated on certain things doesn't mean that they're going to be better at performing the task at hand. It doesn't mean that their intelligence in the situation for that particular job or task is going to be higher than that of the person that has already been doing it. There are a lot of things that we get degrees for today that people literally actually don't need degrees for. You just need to be taught how to do something and then go from there and learn on the job. Some things don't actually require being given a degree. Now, I would say, as a person who thinks that education is very important, I would say it is better to have a degree and then add to that with learning additional things outside of it that tie into what you are interested in, or that tie into whatever your trade or vocation is. But you don't necessarily have to be educated to perform certain tasks. Just like there are degrees out there for people to design video games and for working on computers and things of that nature. You don't need degrees to do those things, but they are helpful if you have the additional education. But if you are intelligent enough, you can learn on your own how to do those things. You don't need some fancy piece of paper to say, oh, Andre is capable of doing this, or whatever your name is, Teresa's capable of doing this, Valerie's capable of doing this, John is capable of doing this, Eric can do this. You don't need that. It's nice to have, and definitely the work that you put into those things to accomplish getting that piece of paper, that representation of your education, it'll be worth it for you depending on who you are and how serious you take the skill or training that you have put yourself through, or how well it fits you. But as we've seen in the media today, there can be people who are renowned for being these highly educated, sometimes very wealthy people who will turn and do something so stupid that you'll wonder how they have their money, how they are able to maintain their businesses, how they hold the positions that they hold. And sometimes I think it is because people conflate education with intelligence. They think that because you have this higher education from maybe an Ivy League school, that you are necessarily more intelligent than the guy that has been down the road who maybe just has a working idea of how to do something. It's more likely to be true, but that doesn't make it always the case. Education and intelligence are not mutually exclusive things. They work well together, they play well together, but they are not the exact same thing. And I guess me hearing and seeing that so often come from so many people. Like, we'll hear about guys that do stupid things all the time after knowing that this guy has been in college and has these degrees, owns this business, that business, makes millions of dollars a day, can sit back on their butt and scratch their behind all they wanted, and they'd still be rich the next 3 years without having to lift a finger. There had to be some level of intelligence to get them there, but that does not mean that their intelligence is absolute. Just like their education isn't necessarily absolute, because people forget things. The best marker I could say for education is it's your ability to retain information. That's really it. You can be highly educated because you have a strong ability to retain information. That doesn't make you more intelligent than someone. So, let's put it this way. Okay, education is your ability to retain information, and then your intelligence is how you use information. That's how I look at the two. Because if you're highly intelligent, meaning you can remember a bunch of stuff, but you're I said highly intelligent, didn't I? Highly educated, meaning you remember a whole lot, but you are very, very lacking in intelligence. You won't know how to use the information you have. You won't know how to use the knowledge you've gathered. That's why you can see people who don't go through the rigors of getting college degrees that start up their own businesses and find ways to make those businesses highly viable. Because they have the intelligence to figure out what they need to do to move forward. They know how to build themselves, or they learn along the way how to build upon what they know and what they start doing. But it's just, I don't know, I've just seen that statement so many times, and it irritates me so much. And I know it might make this sound like a very petty discussion, but it's something I think more people need to listen to and think about. Because unfortunately, the truth is that education and intelligence do not go hand in hand. They can enhance each other, but they are not the same thing. And I've said that enough throughout this whole discussion, so I'm going to go ahead and let this go. Thank you guys very much for listening. And I will be hopefully doing more discussion topics in the very near future. Otherwise, everybody, you enjoy your lives and you have a nice day. Bye-bye.